Hello everybody and welcome to Tiger Tales, a place where you'll find stories and fanfictions written and read to you by your host, me, Tai Tiger. Today we're going back to Power Rangers Universe 19, diving back into the world of Kamen Rider Kiva. Now of course, whether you're listening to this on Tiger Tales or Power Rangers Universe 19, you should go check out both of them and check out the other stories found on both. This is a story written by me and uploaded on Power Rangers Universe 19 because this is exactly where it takes place, sharing the same town as Power Rangers Cyberforce. Last time we left off with Shinzo, our Kamen Rider Kiva. He just gained the ability to upgrade his form to 3 other forms with the help of 3 prisoners in the castle prison on top of the dragon that holds all the Vanguard souls. That being said, let's dive into today's chapter. Strange things have been happening around town, and Shinzo and Penny have also started noticing them. Random portals keep opening to the cyber realm. But it's not their problem, right? Let's find out. With Kamen Rider Kiva, Chapter 6, Random Portals and a Gorilla Monster. Shinzo stood there waiting for Penny. As per usual, he stood there and noticed someone stood opposite him. He recognised him. He was of Penny's new friends, who brought the fruit and veg from Sean a couple of weeks back. Then, the boy known as Mikhail clocked him and walked up to him. "You're waiting for Penny, right?" Mikhail asked. Shinzo nodded in response. "I'm Mikhail. She's hanging out with my sister Angelique," Mikhail said, holding out his hand. "Name's Shinzo." Shinzo introduced himself and shook his hand. "That's right. Nice to meet you, man. How long since you've moved here?" Mikhail asked him. "Just a few months," Shinzo replied. Shinzo and Mikhail stood there kind of awkwardly for a minute, which felt like an hour. Then Angelique, Penny and Violet walked out of the mall. Violet? Shinzo gasped. "Shinzo, good to see you," Violet said awkwardly with a smile. Shinzo then threw Penny a dirty look. "Ready to go?" Penny asked, ignoring his glare. Then Shinzo turned to Mikhail. "Hey man, next time we should go to the arcade or something, instead of looking like dumb gargoyles," Mikhail offered. Sure, sounds good," Shinzo nodded. Then they walked away from the Newman siblings. Then they walked down the street. Shinzo made sure they were plenty of distance before he started on Penny. "You could have told me that one of the Power Rangers of the town is my ex-girlfriend," Shinzo barred her. "I didn't think it was information needed to be presented," Penny replied. "Oh, don't get all princess on me, princess," Shinzo growled back. "She's fine. You barely get mentioned," Penny sighed. "Oh, whatever." "Wait, so I get mentioned?" Shinzo asked and then stormed ahead, ignoring whatever Penny had to respond with. "Shinzo, don't be like that," Penny moaned. Penny walked a few paces behind the moody Shinzo when suddenly she stopped and winced in agony. Shinzo stopped, turned around and saw her and watched her as she grabbed her head in pain. "What's up with you?" Shinzo asked bluntly. "Something's happening. A lot of energy. Almost exploding with power," Penny winced. "What sort of energy? Morphing grid or blood energy?" Shinzo asked. "Cyber energy," Penny gasped. "How?" Shinzo asked confused. Then suddenly a portal opened above them and a neon sign fell out of the portal. Shinzo grabbed Penny and pulled her towards him. The sign hit the ground, breaking, shattering in the exact spot Penny was stood seconds beforehand. The portal then closed. "That was a portal to the cyber realm?" Penny muttered in confusion. "Is that what you were feeling? A spontaneous portal? Did Violet do this? Is her father still imprisoned there?" Shinzo asked. "Firstly, that might be a yes. Secondly, I doubt it. And thirdly, by my knowledge, yes he is," Penny grunted. She pulled out her bottle of water and sipped it slowly. She walked over to the bench and sat down. Then suddenly a portal opened on the road across from them and it started sucking up a car. The driver sat there, started screaming out in fear. Shinzo dropped his bag by Penny and bolted forward. Hopping over the bench, he bolted to the car and used his half-breed strength and forced the driver's side door open and ripped the seatbelt off the driver, then grabbed him, pulled him out of the car, seconds before he got sucked in completely and the portal closed. The man and Shinzo both dropped to the floor. Shinzo jumped to his feet and pulled the man to his. "Thank you," the man huffed. "Shinzo!" Penny called out. Shinzo turned to her. "Fangire!" she barked, pointing at the man who he just saved. Shinzo turned to the man. He then suddenly shifted into a stained glass-looking monster with huge fists, and his face resembled that of a gorilla. "The gorilla Fangire," Shinzo growled. The Fangire swung his fist. Shinzo jumped back, dodging the attack. Then he caught the fist and wrapped his arms around it, then kicked the Fangire. "Yo! Call Komori!" Shinzo called out. "Gotcha," Penny replied. She then stood on the bench and placed both index and middle fingers in her mouth and whistled hard and sharp. Komori was bathing in his small bathtub, breathing in the lavender oils and soaking his metallic wings in the warm, bubbly water when suddenly a sharp whistle pierced his ears. "Uh-oh, Shinzo needs me," Komori grunted. Then he took flight, water dripping off him. He stumbled slightly, knocking over the bottle of bubble bath. Then he flew out down the stairs and flew out to the open window as fast as he could. He bolted to the source of the whistle to see Penny stood on a bench and the gorilla Fangire wrestling Shinzo on the road. He flew down to Shinzo. "Shinzo!" he called out. "Took your sweet-ass time," Shinzo barked. He jumped back and held out his hand up, and Komori flew into his grip. Shinzo grabbed Komori with his right hand. "Bite!" Komori yelled out, and then Komori was brought to Shinzo's left hand, and Komori sunk his teeth into Shinzo's skin. Black veins rippled up his arm and across his face. Suddenly, magic chains formed around his waist and formed into a red and gold henshin belt. The belt was all red and had a metal rod above the waistline. Shinzo held out Komori. "Henshin!" Shinzo called out and placed Komori up to the rod of the belt. With his little claws, he latched on, and then Shinzo placed Komori onto the belt, clipped him in upside down. Suddenly, metal liquid formed around Shinzo. And then, with a shatter of glass, the liquid formed into his rider suit, forming Kamen Rider Kiva. Kamen Rider Kiva ran at the gorilla Fangire and swung his claws, scratching the Fangire, but then the Fangire swung his fists and smacking Kiva back. He flew back and crashed into the parked car. He climbed to his feet, then he ran at the Fangire. He then jumped up and landed on his fists. He then scratched the Fangire's face several times, then he kicked off the Fangire's huge fist and landed, then he ran at the Fangire once more, but the gorilla monster steadied himself, threw out one of his fists, and struck Kiva, knocking him flying back, crashing onto the ground. "Use your back up," Penny barked from hiding behind the bench. Kiva stood up and nodded. "Right," Kiva growled. The whistle called out. In Curse's castle, Okami could hear the call. He knelt down and dragged his two fingers and thumb across the floor. Sparks of lightning burst from his fingertips as they grazed the floorboards. Then he transformed into a small statue, which flew out the window and flew down to the Kamen Rider Kiva. Kiva took the statue, which unfolded into the Gurulu saber. Suddenly, mystic chains wrapped around Kiva's left arm and his chest, then they exploded, revealing his new blue armoured arm and spiked armoured shoulder pad. His chest now was blue and had silver fangs running down each side of the blue armour. The ghost of Okami's true form encased Kiva and fused into him. His visor changed from a red to a nice shade of blue. Then Komori's eyes flashed blue as well. Kamen Rider Kiva stood there in his Gurulu form, saber in hand. He then ran at the gorilla Fangire and slashed his saber down, slicing the gorilla, knocking him back. He then flipped forward, smashing his feet into the Fangire. "Let's end this," Kiva growled. He then placed the Gurulu saber on the mouthpiece on his helmet, and somehow it attached on. It was like he was holding the saber in his mouth. He then jumped up and the sky went all red. The moon appeared in the sky. Kamen Rider Kiva then dived forward towards the Fangire, spun his body around, swinging the saber, slashing the Fangire directly down the middle. Kamen Rider Kiva landed and dropped down onto his new wolf pose as the gorilla Fangire exploded and its soul flew up into the sky, and Kasa ate the soul, keeping it safe inside its stomach. Kiva demorphed and ran over to Penny. Komori was flying overhead. "You okay?" Shinzo asked her. "I am. Are you?" Penny asked back as she stood off the bench. Okay, thanks to Okami," Shinzo muttered. "We did good, Shinzo," Komori cheered. "Yeah, I agree, bud," Shinzo nodded. Then Penny and Shinzo walked home, with Komori flying overhead. The next day, Shinzo finished his class, walked up to the entrance of the building, and waited for Penny. He assumed Mikhail would also be there, but for some weird reason, Mikhail was nowhere to be seen. Deep in the town, in one of the tallest buildings, was a corporation called TAD, Technology Against Dimensional Travelers. The head scientist sat there checking the data when suddenly he started cheering. He bolted out of his chair, ran out of the room, he jogged down the hallway and bolted into the chairman's office. Sir, I did it, the scientist barked. Define you did it, Jefferson, the chief of the corporation told him. I managed to focus the energy configuration between human host and rider form and sample it into a form that solid manipulation format. The scientist known as Jefferson replied through the act catching his breath. English, Jefferson, the chief barked. I've made a Kamen Rider, sir. We can finally fight back against the Fangars ourselves. Give me the word, sir, and we can start the testing process. Jefferson grinned at him. You sure you can do this, Jefferson? The chief asked. Yes, sir. Jefferson nodded. Alright, fine. You're good to go. Start testing immediately, the chief ordered. Thank you, sir. Jefferson grinned devilishly. Then the scientist bolted back out of the room and started filing the list of test subjects wherever trying out their own Kamen Rider. The land of that time and space, Takeshi stood there and watched as the scientist started fixing some details on the Kamen Rider driver he invented. More so, Takeshi emerged into the universe and left it for him to build, but hey ho. Takeshi grinned as he knew waiting for his third rider to come to light would take some time. William walked through a portal and walked up to Takeshi. We should be good now. I made alterations to our subject, William told him. I can't believe I agreed to do this. We should not be handling Universe 91. Takeshi rolled his eyes. Hey, it's not our forte to handle universes. It gives us a chance to test our mystery powers and make unique, never seen before champions, okay? William replied. And what do we do if this fails? Takeshi asked him. We can always just reset and wipe the universe off our footprint. William sneered. Takeshi shook his head. Then suddenly one of the portal monitors started flashing. William, with a wave of his hand, zoomed in on the precious monitor and showed the cyber realm. The two halves were being pulled together, trying to form itself back. What's going on? Takeshi asked. When it comes to Power Rangers and Kamen Rider, they all share universes, are in layered tower sort of format between different dimensions. Each one keeps balance to their own respective universes. There is only one of each, yet they coexist in every universe. It is shared with all universes. It's like water. We have seen several of them. The magic realm, the cyber realm, the blood realm, the music realm is a new one I've been playing with. It's a source of power and powerful they are. Well, the cyber realm was split into two and it seems like it was cut in half and it's repairing itself, William explained. Power Rangers Cyberforce in Universe 19 and Power Rangers Cyberforce V2 in 91, Takeshi acknowledged. Correct. Their meeting is upon us. Soon we'll have to keep watch and see how this turns out. William grinned. Takeshi sighed and walked away from the portal monitors. He jumped up onto his own rock platform to prepare the next Kamen Rider driver. And there you have it, guys. Kamen Rider Kiva, Chapter 6. I hope you guys have enjoyed this chapter. Now, if you're listening to Tiger Tales, then please subscribe and don't forget to like this video. If you're listening to Power Rangers Universe 19, then don't forget to follow on the podcast or wherever you're listening to. And check out the rest of Power Rangers Universe 19, where you can listen to all the Kamen Rider and Power Ranger storylines on this podcast that are all connected on one universe. Don't forget to check out our brother channel, which is Tai Tiger The Lost Stories, which is where we read and I write fanfictions in a first-person perspective and take a whole new concept to the twist of the word fanfiction. Me and Cosplay2637, the owner of Power Rangers Universe 19, are two of the three members of the Three Ranger Bros Studios. The third one being Mark the Red Cornish Ranger with his podcast and Naruto comics, so you should go check that out. Cosplay Dude's also got a couple other places that he does his fanfictions, Storytime with Cosplay Dude. We also have Sailor Moon E and the YouTube channel Nostalgia Time, so go check out them too. We're in association with Zero to Hero, the Bug and Scholar podcasting comes back every week with, of course, an amazing podcast every single Friday, hitting us with some amazing jimbo jumbo of all sorts of stuff of Power Rangers and Kamen Rider and Gundam and aliens abducting us and everything in between. So make sure you go check them out as well. That being said, either way, no matter what platform you're listening to this on, make sure you follow and subscribe. And with that, I shall see you guys really soon.